I'm Julie Morris. I work with Wildlands Conservation. We are a nonprofit land trust, conservation planning, policy, and management organization based in Venice. We work throughout Southwest and South Central area and really kind of take a more detailed approach. So they chose Southwest Florida. They chose Southwest Florida mainly because of the tremendous amount of ecological planning and conservation work that had already been done in this region. The goal of the Southwest Regional Pilot Project was to generate broad agreement about a set of wildlife corridors that connect existing public conservation lands and to identify conservation incentives that might apply to those corridors or would help facilitate the protection of those corridors. So we had this big region from Polk County down to Collier County over to Highlands, Glades, and Hendry, and we decided, well, let's break it up into 3 subregions. So we had Big Cypress up to Fish Eating Creek, that became one subregion. Babcock up to the Green Swamp became another region, and then Fish Eating Creek to Avon Park became another subregion. Wildlands Conservation, the organization I work with, took the lead on the Peace River region from Babcock to the Green Swamp because it dovetailed with existing work we were already doing in the area. We had stakeholder committees. A lot of you were involved in those stakeholder committees. They were comprised of local and regional knowledge and expertise. We worked to identify the best ecological connectivity routing options and to match those routing options with existing or potential incentives for conservation. So backing up, around the same time this started, Wildlands Conservation launched what we called the Peace River Network. Actually, we called it the Peace River Greenway Initiative, but then there was some backlash from some stakeholder groups, so we changed it to the Peace River Network. This was a voluntary partnership-based program. Our goal was to conserve ecological corridors of public and private conservation and agricultural lands along the Peace River and its major tributaries. This dovetailed perfectly with the Cooperative Conservation Blueprint, so we merged the 2 initiatives into one. Our goals, the goals of the Peace River Network were to protect a priority corridor in the Florida Ecological Greenways Network and the Integrated Habitat Network, to maintain the water quality and quantity that is essential for maintaining the ecological integrity of Charlotte Harbor downstream, to conserve biodiversity of regional, statewide, and national significance, and to kind of bring attention to a region that really had not seen a lot of conservation funding or attention. The Peace River, backing up, a lot of attention's been paid to the corridors that go up through the middle of the state, from Big Cypress up to Fish Eating Creek, Northern Everglades. So a lot of attention, state and national attention, has been focused on those corridors. The Peace River is one of our primary alternatives, or the primary alternative, from connecting the conservation lands in South Florida up through the conservation lands in North Florida. Here, is our basic area of focus, though, the lines are kind of nebulous. The dark green are existing conservation lands. The brown are Florida Forever projects, and then that light brown is our CLIP data set, the Critical Lands and Water Identification Database, that kind of became the foundation of looking at different corridors in the region. But you can see there is kind of this big gaping hole where there isn't any conservation land in the Peace River region. A recent success has been the acquisition of Peaceful Horse Ranch, which is that area. I don't know if y'all see the triangle where RV Griffin Reserve is. Peaceful Horse Ranch is in southern DeSoto County, 4,500 acres along the Peace River. Mosaic bought that as part of an agreement with the Sierra Club. But other than that, there hasn't been a lot of conservation land acquisition in the region. So we had these stakeholder committees, and I'm showing this map. I was a little bit hesitant because this map isn't final. But these light green corridors represent priority corridors chosen by our stakeholder committees. Our stakeholder committees looked at the science. They looked at ecological modeling efforts by Florida Natural Areas Inventory, by University of Florida. They looked at local, regional, and state species data, panther and bear telemetry. And then we also added the human element into that. We looked at the on-the-ground reality. We looked at existing opportunities in the region and kind of just what the political, economic reality was on the ground. And our next step is to vet this map, and that's what we're doing right now, with landowners. Landowner buy-in is essential to this project. We can't have a conservation incentive program on programs on private lands without landowners saying that they're interested. And again, these corridors are not complete. There's still areas that we're working on. We've been receiving funding from different entities. We've funded it ourselves. FWC has assisted in funding us. The Mosaic Foundation has recently offered support to help fund our conservation corridor work. So this is an ongoing process, and these corridors were chosen for a number of reasons. I kind of just went through wildlife modeling efforts, landowner buy-in, existing opportunities in the region. These maps are draft. We're vetting the corridors with landowners. We are currently in discussion with landowners about conservation programs and incentives, gauging their interest, and we're redefining these corridors based on landowner feedback. Our next steps and what we're continuing to do is work with agencies and partners to elevate these corridors to a priority level in acquisition and incentive programs such as Florida Forever or WRPs, etc. The main thing that came out of our stakeholder work and our landowner work is they said, take these corridors and elevate them to a priority level. This is what we all agree these are consensus-based corridors, so take this to NRCS, to the water management districts, to DEP, to FWC, and get these programs, get some meaning put and agency buy-in behind these corridors. We are currently working with landowners in the Peace River region to look at different acquisition and easement programs. We are able to assist landowners with rural land protection easement application programs. We're advocating for them on a state level. We are working with landowners to help them with NRCS programs. We are putting together Florida Forever projects to submit to DEP in the future as well. Another program that we're doing that was kind of an example of putting our money where our mouth is a payment for ecosystem services program for gopher tortoises. And this program is about incentivizing private landowners to manage their lands for the gopher tortoise. So we're applying that in the Peace River region on these consensus-based priority corridors. We are working to build a coalition of landowners and stakeholders to further conservation actions within the region. And again, our overall goals are protecting a priority corridor from Charlotte Harbor to the Green Swamp, and then also to facilitate those east-west connections. I just wanted to bring up a particular concern to us right now are the potential Green Swamp surplus lands that are on the surplus list for state lands. And there are several properties on there that would sever our only remaining potential connections across I-4 into the Green Swamp. So we encourage y'all to learn about that. We have information up about that on our website, and there are some public hearings coming up. We are conserving biodiversity of regional, statewide, and national significance. One of the things that is becoming more and more into play right now is we're hearing more and more about panther range expansion north of the Caloosahatchee River. Well, this area has been identified by state and federal modeling efforts as being a priority area for panthers. So we know they're already moving from Babcock over to Myakka, and we know that they're moving up into Hardy County as well. Again, this is one of the few options to connect conservation lands in South Florida to the rest of the state. And most of all, there is a lack of conservation lands in this region. So thank you. Any questions?